I got a call last March from my dad, and he was whispering like he was in a spy movie. He told me someone from the Social Security Administration had just contacted him about suspicious activity on his account, and they needed his information to prevent his number from being suspended. He had already given them his full name and date of birth before something felt off enough to call me. I spent 40 minutes on the phone convincing a 72-year-old retired mechanic, a man who once spotted a cracked engine block by sound alone, that the United States government does not cold call people and threaten criminal prosecution within 24 hours. That call cost us nothing, technically. He caught it in time, but the pit in my stomach lasted weeks. And what I did not know in that moment was just how precisely engineered that call was, and how many people just like my dad do not catch it in time. In 2024, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center received over 147,000 complaints from adults 60 and older, a 46% increase from the year before, with total reported losses of $4.885 billion. The FTC thinks the actual number, accounting for all the people who never reported, might be as high as $81.5 billion. I am going to walk through exactly how these scams work, why they are so effective, and what is being done about them. What happened to my dad is not unusual. It's a Tuesday. The scams have categories now, like genres. Let's start with investment fraud, which sits at the top, costing older adults $1.8 billion in 2024 alone. But the one that keeps former Deputy District Attorney Aaron West up at night is something called pig butchering. The name comes from the metaphor of fattening a pig before slaughter. Scammers build relationships over weeks, sometimes months, through fake romantic connections or casual online friendships. Then they steer the conversation toward cryptocurrency investments on platforms that look real but are not. A retired insurance adjuster in Mississippi lost $500,000 this way. A widow in San Jose lost nearly $1 million, believing she was talking to a new love interest. She was talking to workers in a fraud factory in Southeast Asia. The United States Institute of Peace estimated in a May 2024 report that 300,000 people are working in scam centers across Cambodia and Myanmar, many of them trafficked there by Chinese criminal syndicates and forced to commit fraud. Pig butchering revenue grew nearly 40% year over year in 2024. The number of deposits to these scams grew 210% over the same period. And once someone has been victimized this way, they often become a target a second time. This is called a crypto recovery scam. These fraudsters specifically seek out previous scam victims and pose as investigators or recovery specialists who can get your money back. They cannot. They are just running a second operation on top of the first one. If you or someone you know has already lost money to a crypto scam, that second call offering help is almost certainly another scam. Now let's talk about Bitcoin ATMs, because this one surprised me. There are now over 45,000 of them across the country, up from about 4,250 in 2020. Fraud losses tied to them hit $333.5 million in 2025. And 80 to 85% of those losses come from adults aged 60 and older. The median loss reported to the FTC was $10,000. In a lawsuit filed by Washington, D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab against the company Athena Bitcoin, data showed that 93% of all deposits at their machines were the direct result of scams. The median victim age was 71. One person lost $98,000 across 19 transactions over several days. Athena responded by saying, essentially, that they are not responsible for what people choose to do with their money. Iowa's Attorney General sued Bitcoin Depot and CoinFlip on similar grounds. California now caps daily deposits at $1,000. Arizona requires warning signs and offers refund windows. Waltham and Gloucester, Massachusetts banned the machines entirely. Regulators are catching up slowly. FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the Treasury Department's anti-money laundering arm, has been tightening Know Your Customer requirements on crypto kiosk operators specifically because these machines have become such a reliable pipeline for fraud proceeds. The regulatory pressure on Bitcoin. ATM operators is coming from multiple directions at once. Now let's cover AI voice cloning, because this one is something different entirely. An 86-year-old grandmother in Philadelphia lost $6,000 last year after receiving a phone call from someone she believed was her granddaughter. The voice was generated by artificial intelligence. A HIA survey from March 2026 found that 1 in 4 Americans had experienced a deep fake voice call. The technology needs only a few seconds of recorded audio to clone someone convincingly. Part of what makes those calls believable is that scammers can also fake the number the call is coming from. Caller ID spoofing lets them make a call appear to come from your bank, a government agency, or even a family member's actual number. The FCC has been pushing phone carriers to implement something called stir-shaken, a protocol that authenticates whether a call actually originates from the number displayed. It is not fully deployed everywhere yet, which means spoofed calls are still getting through and there is no easy way for most people to know the difference. My dad doesn't post videos online. He doesn't have a public voicemail greeting, but his grandkids do. They're all over social media. That's where the raw material lives. I want to step sideways for a second. If you're watching this and you're over 60, none of what I've described means you're gullible. Kathy Stokes, the director of fraud prevention programs at the AARP Fraud Watch Network, put it plainly. She said the impact on older adults who are victimized is often catastrophic, not because they're foolish, because they've spent decades building something, and these operations are engineered with industrial precision to take it. Entire teams work these scams in shifts. They study behavioral psychology. They run scripts refined across millions of interactions. The Federal Trade Commission's own data shows older adults actually report losing money to fraud at a lower rate than younger adults. It's the dollar amounts that are devastating because there's more to lose and less time to rebuild. Some people 60 and older have reported emptying their bank accounts and clearing out their 401k plans. That's not a character flaw. That's a crime that worked. And researchers have noted that older men face a specific dimension of this risk that doesn't get discussed enough. Men who are retired or widowed are statistically less likely to discuss financial decisions with family members before acting on them, and they tend to carry higher average retirement savings than women of the same age. That combination, financial resources and financial privacy, is exactly what these operations look for. It's not a weakness, it's just math, and scammers have done the math. Imposter scams, where someone pretends to be from the government, your bank, or a tech company, cost adults 60 and older $700 million in 2024. That's a 5-fold increase from 2020. The newest variation involves emails with the subject line, "Alert Social Security Account Issues Detected," featuring fake letterhead warning that your Social Security number will be suspended within 24 hours, which is exactly what happened to my dad, except his came by phone. Same playbook. Medicare loses an estimated $60 billion a year to fraud. Scammers call offering free back braces, knee braces, or mobility scooters. They say Medicare covers everything, and they just need your Medicare number to verify eligibility. What they are actually doing is billing Medicare in your name for equipment you will never see. Medicare updated its cards back in 2018, replacing Social Security numbers with random identifiers, but the calls have not stopped. The FCC is explicit about this. Medicare does not make uninvited calls asking for personal or private information. Period. The CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, has also flagged Medicare and Social Security impersonation as among the most common financial exploitation vectors targeting older adults and maintains resources specifically for that population. The Department of Justice, under Attorney General Pamela Bondi, pursued more than 280 enforcement actions against more than 600 defendants charged with stealing almost $2 billion from over 1 million older adults. DOJ victim compensation funds have returned over $129 million to more than 100,000 victims. The FBI's Operation Level Up, focused on cryptocurrency investment scams, has notified over 8,000 potential victims and prevented more than $500 million in losses, including $225.9 million in 2025 alone. In 2024, FBI collaboration with India enabled over 215 arrests through 11 joint operations, a 700% increase from the year before. It's worth noting that one of these scams once took down an entire bank. Heartland Tri-State Bank in Elkhart, Kansas, failed in 2023 after its CEO, Sean Haynes, embezzled $47 million from the bank, trying to recover money he had sent into what turned out to be a pig butchering operation. He got 24 years in prison. A bank CEO, $47 million. The pig got butchered, and he was a man who ran a bank. My dad still answers his phone every time it rings. He grew up in a world where the phone was how people reached you when it mattered, and he is not going to stop. Last week he told me someone called about his car's extended warranty. He said he hung up after 4 seconds. Then he added, "I do not even have a warranty." He sounded proud of himself, which was something. But I keep thinking about that first call, the Social Security one, where he whispered to me like he was already in trouble, where his voice had that specific tremble of a man who has always been competent and suddenly was not sure. He caught it. A lot of people do not, and the people running these operations are counting on exactly that.